Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Walt Nauta and his arraignment yesterday and what happens next with him. So, several points to really focus on. First, just the overall clock ticking and delay. It's been about a month since the original indictment, and Nauta has done his job basically, a little bit like a first down play for 7 yards. Excuse the sports metaphors, but he's eaten up a month of the clock just saying it's taken this long to find a local counsel, which you need for this case. His main counsel, Stanley Woodward, who's from D.C., will still represent him, a well-respected defense lawyer generally, although representing a lot of folks here and is also being paid for by the Trump team. So anyway, finally Nauta shows up and has a lawyer like one step removed from having to get a federal public defender. But, we've had a full month that it's taken for what would normally be the very first day. All right. Now, what about the timing overall and how does that affect things? Because before the judge, Cannon, was saying, Trump and Nauta needed to respond to the scheduling motion, and that's going to be the big thing coming up. They're now going to have to respond to that next week, I think by the 13th, and then the 14th is a hearing. The hearing is, and here's the second big point, first and foremost on the Classified Information Act and how the parties are going to handle that. That is Trump's golden ticket to try to delay things because there are procedures under the act that permit a lot of back and forth wrangling over what information exactly will be put before the jury. And you can bet your bottom dollar that Trump will be coming forward and saying, oh, we must have this and that, and not just the 31 documents, but others, in order to put them in context. And it's a well-known strategy for basically making the United States put pressure on them and potentially even drop charges. That's happened in the past when courts have sided with defendants saying, yes, you do need this information, and the DOJ, its national security folks, have been unwilling to release it. I think the DOJ has thought about this in advance. And the 31 documents that are in the indictment already are relatively easy to sort of sanitize and get the essential information out. Moreover, they can afford to lose 15 of them. The overall charges and sentence aren't really driven by the number of documents. So I think they've already done the best they can and will have strong arguments to keep Trump from delaying too much. But that's sort of par for the course in these classified documents cases. And you can bet come next Friday that there'll be strong arguments and Trump will be telegraphing, oh, my Lord, we need 10 years to go through this. All right, but back to Nauta. And here's the biggest point to talk about. What is the story with him? We had a report just a couple days ago that a real impetus for going down and getting the search warrant was surveillance tape that showed that the day before DOJ, a big lawyer in national security there, Jay Bratt, was to show up to get to personally take documents from Evan Corcoran. This is when and this has been an unsealed part of the affidavit. So just this little bit. But boxes, Nauta moves out 60 some boxes, moves back in 30 boxes. This is really strong evidence to go with everything else. There is, remember, also another person there who helped him. The evidence against him is strong. So why has he not cooperated with the government? Why is he still staying joined at the hip to Donald Trump? I don't think it's as simple as his legal exposure. I mean, he may be playing for a pardon down the line. However, it's certain that the department offered him a very, very sweet deal that wouldn't require any jail time. So that doesn't really change things. Probably he wouldn't have even been convicted and have a criminal record. I think rather that basically Nauta is this, guy who was plucked from obscurity. He had a short rotation in the White House as the kind of, well, we've heard valet. I think basically he's the gopher, and especially the Diet Coke guy, who that seems like almost a full-time job in the Trump White House. And he all of a sudden has been in the inner circle. By all accounts, he's kept his nose clean, hasn't tried to be a big shot, has given Trump real confidence in him. You may have seen earlier this week the two of them chomping down on a cheesesteak together in Philadelphia. So my guess is what Nauta is thinking about, because, he's really looking at, because he's a co-conspirator, a few years of a jail sentence if Trump isn't able to, save him by being elected, or having, say Ron DeSantis, if he's elected, pardon him. I think he's probably concluded, at least so far, maybe I have to do a little jail time, but after it's all out, the Trump family, I'm now in the fold and they'll take care of me, because who is he otherwise? Just a sort of obscure figure in the military, and maybe there's nothing left, but he could be a real stalwart member of the Trump family, a loyal figure. I think that rather than the legal exposure must be in play. But one other point, as time, it's not a closed door for him. He realizes, and I'm sure his lawyer has told him, the United States offer to get you to cooperate will stay good probably up until trial, which, right now, that's the big question. When is that going to be? So he can play tough, and probably still his offer to cooperate would be valuable enough that he could sort of switch horses at the very last minute. So for now, staying loyal to Trump, seeing what's going on, how the election's shaping up, maybe that overall makes sense. The more nefarious hypothesis is his lawyer, who's being paid by Trump, is kind of pushing him that way against his legal interest. And I think it is against his legal interest, narrowly construed, but maybe not against his sort of broader personal interest, given who he is. Okay, so Nauta, arraigned, pleads not guilty to all the counts. We have the new evidence of his moving stuff in and out, and described on the unredacted affidavit. That's a little bit of a interesting illustration of how you really have to cross your T's and dot your I's in the affidavit. It's the part that's been unsealed really shows the DOJ making clear, just where this is in Mar-a-Lago. So that's point one. Point two is the scheduling coming up and the hearing next Friday, and the first Trump Nauta now combined team counter offer for schedule. And then finally, the whole figure of Nauta, who at least on the documents case could absolutely, all he's got to say is testify. Why'd you do this? Because the boss told me to. What did he tell you? And then Trump is, total. It would totally make the case. But there are other ways to make the case. I think they don't desperately need him, but they would surely take him if they could. And that includes not just now, but all the way down the line until the case is finally tried. When will that be? We'll know a little bit more about that after next Friday, when we see how what Trump's position is for the classified documents issues, and what the judge's ruling on that is going to be. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.